These men would then risk life and limb for their mates. Hello you all, it's been a while. This video is a little different. Sort of a chit chat. I wanted to just come and chit chat with you all. This video also is in memory of Ayesha Faines. I originally learned of Ayesha on the YouTube show called The Grapevine. I encourage you to check out her YouTube page called Women Love Power.
The only way to really see who's sitting across from you is to, number one, have your own self-awareness, to know who you are, right? And to understand what your own vulnerabilities, your own potential insecurities are. And once you kind of got that down, then you can properly take those rose-colored glasses off and really have a look-see at who's across from you. Because I promise you, before it gets so serious that a man is, you walking on a man with another woman and he tells you to leave, before it gets to that point, there are warning signs that this man is not honoring you. This man is not showing up for you. This man is not rising to the occasion. So why give the best of yourself? Why make that big a withdrawal from who you are when you're not getting any return on the investment, with the exception of validation, which is cheap?
Now, I mentioned her because 2 years ago, I watched a video of hers that flipped the switch in my subconscious. It gave me a new perspective on why women are labeled things such as choosey, stuck up, too picky, and referred to as having standards that are unrealistic. Now, Ayesha explained the evolution of humans. She compared Homo erectus to Homo sapiens. She also pointed out key differences in the Estrous versus the Menses. So what exactly is Estrous, or the Estrous cycle? The major difference in Estrous is the absence of uterine shedding or bleeding. In Estrous, that lining is absorbed. Some animals have Estrous and some animals have Menses. Humans today have Menses. Now, I emphasize that humans today have Menses because this was not always the case. Through evolution and adaptation, women have evolved from solely having Estrous to now having Menses, or the curse. Now, here's my opinion on why having a period is not a curse. In fact, it gives women power. When an animal is in Estrous, they will portray outwardly unmistakable displays of receptivity. Plain and simple, they know when they are in heat, be it engorged genitals or the obvious behaviors such as mating calls, almost completely uncontrollable. Can you recall a time in ovulation where you really were sexually frustrated and needed to release the tension? That's similar to what animals experience, except they can't hide it. So this is where it gets interesting. Many ages ago, when Homo sapiens evolved and ovulation then concealed, women began to have choices in their mate. And because men were no longer able to detect when a woman is ovulating, they had to be more selective in which women they approached. This is when things began to shift. So men began to be rejected more. And because women were no longer slave to these powerful and potent hormones that encourage that they have sex whenever and with whomever, this gave the women the power to choose and to be more selective with whom they wanted to have sex with. So this is when they began to have the power to say no. Now men were put in a position where they really had to convince the woman to have sex with them. This is when being the breadwinner or meat winner in this case grew its significance because women required iron-rich meats. It was a no-brainer that they would choose a mate that was able to provide that for her. These men would then risk life and limb for their mates. Now, as Homo sapiens began to walk upright, the female's body anatomy was compromised. Slim limbs and hips made it easier for Homo sapiens to walk longer distances in search of food. No longer taking short strides, dragging your knuckles like chimps. But with this adaptation, it also changed the anatomy of the female pelvis, making labor extremely high risk. This was a major factor in women being selective in their mate. Now, just as the male species is wired to gravitate towards women with wider hips, making women more biologically fit to give birth to many healthy offsprings, right? With Menses, the female was able to make smarter choices. She would choose a mate that would help her in her childbearing years and choose a mate that would help provide and protect her and her offsprings, right? The provider and the protector, that's where this comes from. It's a biological evolutionary want and need. So does the thick thighs really save lives? Something to think about. So when you consider the evolution of humans, would you label a woman in this time period as a gold digger or a woman that's making safe and smart choices for her livelihood? We're bombarded today by the idea of a high value man and women wanting high value man. I think a lot of this again stems from our evolutionary or biological wants and needs. I believe it goes more in depth than just a woman searching for a man that makes six figures and that could provide a certain lifestyle. But more on that topic later. Today I just wanted to get across to women to reconsider of the menstrual cycle being a curse, but rather a gift. On that note, ladies, be wary not to cast your pearls before swine.